E-commerce expansion myths blasted. Successful cross-border expansion help. Listen to the show to hear how one UK company is helping e-commerce sellers successfully expand into Europe and double their profits. Hosted by Andy Hooper of Global E-commerce Experts.
So thank you very much for everyone for joining us on another part of our exciting webinar series. I'm glad you've decided to join us again. Thank you very much for giving up your valuable time and joining us on this webinar series. So I suppose what we're thinking is, what is today on? Well, how do you increase your sales with emails? If you're selling on e-commerce, how can you use email or list building in your sales strategy? So today's outcomes. Why do you need an email list is the key one. But how do you build that from scratch? How do you do that versus organic or versus paid? And the last thing is, how do you stay compliant with the EU regulations? So it's going to be absolutely crucial that you understand what those regulations are to make sure you don't come foul of GDPR. And then obviously at the end, we've got some room for some questions. So my name is Andy Hooper. I'm the host for today. I work at Global E-commerce Experts, where I'm proud to lead a team of amazing people that work across a number of our different departments, whether that be VAT, account management, or our warehouse. Now, as I said, thank you very much for giving up your valuable time. There is an Expanders Facebook group, GEE. Let me start that again. GEE Expanders, where you can join us. #Expander Series. We have helped over 2,000 sellers so far to successfully expand into Europe, and that's what we want to continue to strive to do. Our focus is about helping make you successful when you expand into the EU, and that's what we strive to do every single day. I've got over 10 years experience in e-commerce. I started off selling silicone watches back in the day in probably 2009, 10, I think it was. We bought some silicone watches in China. We imported those, we sold those, turned those into a profit, scaled and built those as we went through. So I've been through the journey. I know where we are. We've got a huge amount of experience in working with sellers expanding into Europe. That's what GE does. That's what we've really focused in on, our strength to really support people expanding successfully. But I am not on my own today. I am better joined by one of the other members of the team. Sophie, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Sophie, thank you very much for joining us. Sophie, do you want to just give us a little intro for you?
Yeah, so I've been at Global E-commerce Experts for almost a year now, and I'm part of the digital marketing team here, helping people with their Amazon accounts and growing their social media followings and lists and things like that.
Fantastic. So Sophie's well placed to support you and educate you on this webinar, and I'm going to let her lead the majority of it, and then I'm going to pose some questions to her potentially at the end, which she won't be thankful of, and she will hold me against me for a while, I'm sure. So, okay. So this is part of our success framework. So we've been doing the webinar series based around our framework. We have a 6-step formula that helps people to successfully expand. If you follow the steps, that's where you'll end up as a successful expander. Now, some people move these around. They don't all do them in complete order. Depending on your brand and how you do things, will depend on what specifically works for you. But the sort of steps are, we start off with compliance, we get our compliance correct, we then launch on marketplaces, be Amazon, eBay, Etsy, or wherever else it might be. We get our listings and translated sorted. We've then, over the last few weeks, we've gone through the promote. We've talked about how you sort of promote your products to sort of help get sales velocity, whether it be pay-per-click ads, vouchers, or even social traffic, which helps. And now we've moved more onto the website area of what we do. So last week we talked about building a website, how you can start bringing traffic off. But when you've got a platform or like Amazon, and then you build an additional website, Amazon gets the traffic for you. So what we're now looking for is you build a website. Now you've got to think about how you get that traffic to your website. Now, we're not going to go specifically about traffic, but we are going to talk about building a list, because a list is absolutely crucial to help you expand. So that's where we're going to be focusing on today. Can an email list really increase your sales? How are you going to get started? Proven ways to grow that list, the law, the GDPR, and then questions at the end. So we're going to crack straight on, and I'm going to hand over to Sophie. Sophie, are you there?
I am.
It's all yours. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Andy. So I'm going to start off with what is an email list and why do you need one? So when you're selling on Amazon, Amazon drives the traffic to your products for you, as there's millions of people actively searching on Amazon every day. But when you start selling on your own website, which is what we started touching on in last week's webinar, you're not going to have Amazon doing that legwork for you. So you're going to have to drive your own traffic to your website. So you need traffic that you own. And this is where building your list is crucial. Because if you have no list, you have no traffic to direct to your website. And obviously, if no one's going to go to your website, you're not going to be making any money. So an email list is simply a list of emails that businesses have gathered from visitors and customers. And these are email addresses that can come from newsletter opt-ins on your website, free digital downloads in exchange for an email address, and details collected from a customer placing an order and things like that. Email marketing is one of the primary drivers of traffic and a key way to communicate with your customers. A recent study showed that over 59% of marketers say that email is their biggest source of return of investment. And it showed that 99% of consumers check their email every single day. Now that's a great opportunity to reach your customers, remind them what you're offering, about a sale you have on, or what they've left in their basket on your website. And as 99% of consumers are checking their emails every day, you're going to be able to do all of that without interrupting their experience in any way because they're already checking their emails. Now, what I mean by that is advertisements that you pay for, whether that's on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, they're going to pop up when your customer hasn't asked to see them, and it can be annoying. I'm not saying don't use paid ads because I think they're great and definitely have their place, including list building, which we'll touch on a bit later, but I'm just going to use that as an example. So I'm sure you've all been on YouTube. 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to watch an advert before the video even starts, and then another one 5 minutes into the video and so on. And that can be really irritating to your customer. With email marketing, you're not going to be irritating them. I mean, unless you're sending them 10 emails a day, which I really don't advise, but you're not going to be irritating them just by sending them a reminder about this great offer that you have on. The worst thing that can happen is they ignore your email and don't go to your website. You've still not interrupted what they were doing and why they were going on to their emails in the first place, compared to when you're paying money to stop them watching something that they want to watch, like with YouTube advertising. Again, I'm just picking on YouTube here. I'm not saying stop all of your YouTube ads right now. It's just an example and a way of looking at how beneficial email marketing can be. So moving on to the next slide, how do you start building your list? When I say build your list, I don't mean how can you get as many people on that list as possible, because you could buy a list of email addresses in about 10 minutes if that was the goal. Though we do want to get as many people's email addresses as possible, we want warm leads on our email list. And what I mean by warm leads is people who have an interest in your product and what you have to offer and who are going to be interested in what you have to say. Remember that 10 interested potential customers are better than 100 uninterested people who are never going to buy your products. So one of the first things I recommend you do is something I call spying on your competitors. So basically, you want to go onto your competitors' websites and see how many email opt-ins you can find. Is there a welcome pop-up that pops up as soon as you land on their page where you're offered a percentage off or information in exchange for your email? Is there maybe a live chat feature that requires you to put your email address in? See what kind of email opt-ins that they have and sign up to them. So sign up to all of your competitors' lists and research what they're offering you, when they're offering it, and take some notes. So maybe if you're reading one of their emails and it makes you want to buy their product or click onto what they're trying to offer you, write it down. Maybe their email to you is based on what you've interacted with on their site. With email marketing, you can actually use audience and contact information to target and filter contacts into segments. So if this is something that you're noticing, see how they're targeting you and think about how you could target your customers in a similar way. Next thing you want to do is offer your website visitors free value. So you've all signed up for this free webinar and you've given us your email. That's email marketing. So if I were to put out a blog post, say, with the top 10 tips you need to know before sending your first email campaign, and maybe within that I say, download our free email marketing guide, anyone who gives us their email in exchange for our email marketing guide would be a warm lead. And I would be building our list with people who have an interest in what we're offering by offering them free value. And then if they learn something really valuable from that, they're likely to pay attention when I send them an email to buy our products or services. You can also offer things like a free product sample in exchange for their email and covering postage costs or something like that. Next thing you're going to want is some social proofing. So you're going to want to discuss success stories of others who have benefited from your products, perhaps in the form of a review. This is one of the best ways to get website visitors to take action and sign up to your list, maybe to get the latest offers and news from you. You're also going to want some exclusivity and urgency. So you're going to want to make your unique selling point known and what makes your product one of a kind. And you're going to want to push your visitors to act sooner rather than later, maybe emphasizing points such as wasted time or money to incentivize them to act now. And that leads nicely into the last point, which is a call to action. So for someone to join your email list, you need to give them a clear instruction. What do you want them to do? So with the example that I used earlier, for instance, download our free email marketing guide on a blog post. That's my way of telling whoever is visiting my blog that I want to give them this amazing guide on email marketing for free. Now, if they've clicked on a blog post about that already, they're already interested. So that is the perfect way to start growing your list with warmed up traffic. So next, I'm going to go on to talk about how you can collect emails with page traffic. So at the start of the webinar, I mentioned how email marketing can be less intrusive to the user experience compared to paid traffic. However, paid traffic does have its place, and that comes in here. So paid traffic in email marketing sense represents paid leads that have opted into your email list from a paid advertisement. Now, if you're starting off with no email list at all or very few emails on your list, you might want to start incorporating page traffic into your list building plan. Now, the advantage of paid traffic is that you don't have to wait for your traffic to trickle in, but obviously it can get pretty expensive. It's not compulsory to run ads to get email leads, but it can definitely speed the process up by months and grow your list much quicker than trying to grow your list organically. If you are using paid traffic to build your list, think about what message you might want to convey. So what type of platform your dream customer is using and what they're going to respond best to. So would your ideal customer click on a blog post about your product? Would they respond better to an interactive video where they can see your product being used maybe? Or maybe what would make them click onto your product is seeing a popular influencer in your industry raving about your product. So most of the examples we're going to go through can be done via paid or organic. It really just depends on your business goals, budget and timescale, which route you take. So I'm going to give you an example of what type of list building tactics you can implement on each of these things. So we'll start off with a website or landing page. So for this, you could potentially advertise a new product coming soon with the option to opt in to pre-order that product. With social media, let's take Facebook, for example. You could create a lead generating Facebook ad, and this enables you to target your exact demographic using the Facebook Ad Manager tool. And with Facebook, it actually makes it really easy for users to fill out your form whilst they're browsing the actual ad itself, so they don't even need to leave Facebook. And we found that to be a really useful way to gather new people for your list. We've got blogs. So if you're writing blog posts, a really great way is to incorporate sign-up forms within those blogs. That way, again, it's more user-friendly as they're already interested in your blog to begin with. So you can send paid traffic to these blogs and offer them things like a free digital download related to the blog post in exchange for their email. You could also work with influencers. We touched on this in our previous webinar about how social media can help you increase sales. So you can work with influencers to promote your business and encourage their following to sign up to your newsletter. And that just helps you spread the word and get yourself out there. You could do a contest or a giveaway. So you could advertise a competition where users have to put in their email address to enter. Maybe you could even go a bit further and get them to like, comment and share on the post to enter the competition too. Again, that's just a great way to spread the word and collect as many emails as possible. And then you can also promote that sort of thing on your website and blog too, just for that extra oomph. And then last but not least, you've got referrals. So referrals is where customers could get a percentage off when they refer a friend and they sign up to your newsletter or maybe buy something from your website. With this, it's obviously not necessarily a paid ad, but you would be giving them some kind of incentive, so a percentage off, for example, or a £5 gift card. So it's not a free source of traffic, but it is definitely an effective one. So moving on from paid traffic, let's talk about how you can collect emails with organic traffic. So organic traffic costs you nothing but your time, and it's where people find your website or social media while simply browsing. So that could be through relevant hashtags on social media or through a particular search term they've entered into Google. And again, I'll quickly run through what type of list building tactics you can implement organically on these things. So we'll start off again with website or landing pages. So with good search engine optimization and time, Google's search algorithms will show your website to customers who enter relevant search terms, and they can then choose to opt into your email list if they want to. The use of social media, so again using hashtags on your social media posts relevant to your product or business. That way you'll be seen by many potential customers who are just browsing through those social media sites. You're also going to be want to be engaging with your dream customers, and you can put your website link at the top of your page. So as soon as someone comes to check out your page, they're going to have the option to sign up to your list, and you're going to be capturing them whilst they're still interested. With blogs, so if you're writing relevant blogs, your search engine optimization ranking will increase, and people who may have never heard of your company before are likely to land on your blog. So if you have an email sign-up form on your blogs, you can easily capture their details, again by giving them something in return. And that could even be offering to send them more information on the topic of the blog. As long as you're putting out that relevant content, you'll get those organic leads. And again, you could do a contest or giveaway, and this is the same as the paid option we talked about, but obviously all contest entries would come from your followers and word of mouth rather than paying to get it out there. And I think with some quite heavy engagement, organic competitions can perform really well and bring in some great leads for you. Regardless of what you do, you just want to make sure that there's something in it for your customers. They're not going to give you their email address just for the sake of it. They're going to want something in return. So keep that in mind and tailor what you offer to suit your customers. So moving on to how you're going to send them the emails. Whilst you could send them from your Gmail account or whatever account you have, we would advise using a website like MailChimp or SendGrid. And they offer free accounts depending on your list size, where you can create emails to send to your list. You actually have the option to segment your list into different categories. So for example, leads who haven't purchased anything before, so customers, or rather people on your list who haven't purchased anything before, you can target them with emails based on their demographics or previous activity with your website. Customers who have purchased from you, maybe you could funnel those customers into some of your other products through your email marketing. There's lots of options to look into. With these types of websites, you can create email templates with your brand colors, logos, and information readily available, and then all you need to do is write the copy. With your email templates as well, you can easily adhere to all the necessary GDPR rules that you're required to meet, which brings us on to the last bit of the presentation from me, which is around the law and email marketing. So with email marketing, you want to make sure that you comply with the EU's GDPR, which is the General Data Protection Regulations. So basically what you need to make sure is that you have permission to email the people on your list. And what I mean by that is make sure that you're asking consent to collect your customers' information. And that could be attaching your terms and conditions and asking them to tick a box to sign up to your list in your email opt-in form. So your customers will have to specifically consent to receiving mail from you to ensure that you avoid getting some pretty significant fines that you can face if you don't do that. You're also going to need to give an option to unsubscribe to your mailing list with every email you send out. You can't sell your customers' data to third-party applications, and you can't use your customer information for anything other than what's stated in your terms and conditions. So make sure that you're meeting all that criteria, and make sure that you just make it really clear in your terms and conditions that you are going to be using third-party websites, but their data is definitely going to be protected. So I think that's it from me. I'll hand back to Andy, who's going to pick up on anything else that I might have missed and go through some questions.
Excellent, Sophie. Thank you very much. That was amazing. Some great content there. So I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. We have had a question come in that we're going to go through. If you're a brand with a customer base that is somewhat allergic to marketing tactics like email opt-ins, what are the most honest and straightforward ways to collect emails? We're trying to figure out what our hook can be. Would be great if you can speak from your experience what has worked well. I'm going to the first one that sort of pings to mind to me really is, warranties or guarantees. If you want a warranty or guarantee for this product, please send us your details, name, address, email address, whatever that might be. that's a great way of getting an opt-in straight away. I think we mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. I think that's a really good one. Really straightforward, really easy. It's not spammy, it's fact. You know, if you want an extra guarantee on this, then please send us your email. That's the first one that comes to mind. Sophie, have you got anything you can think of?
Yeah, I think the key really is just giving them something that they're going to want, you know, something free, something valuable, maybe an ebook or something that you know they're going to be interested in, just some kind of free value, I think is key really.
Yeah, I think it depends on your customer base and what the products you sell. The sort of the more, I mean, you can go deep and get so much content. You know, how do you create that? For example, you know, we run a webinar every Wednesday night, which creates content for our social stuff around our pathway. So we've always creating that content. Really, the content's there to support our sellers to expand and to get them involved. So, you know, what else can you do to enable that to happen? You know, how can you give value to that end customer? You know, what is it that your customer really wants or really needs, and how can you assist them on that journey? How can you sort of be that guide to help them to solve their problems? So that would be my, you know, how can you do that? You know, off the back of what Sophie's already said around creating the content. I know we talked about creating content a little while ago, but the content king is sort of still relevant. And the more content you create, the more customers you can attract and bring in different routes. And I think that's really, really important that, you know, people that like webinars come on webinars, those that like podcasts go on podcasts, those that like YouTube go on YouTube. You know, it's about creating that content for those different channels and then using that to generate customers as well. It doesn't have to be from a product. You know, where else can you come from it from a different angle? And it all depends on, you know, what product that might be. So hopefully that's helped answer that. You know, we could probably go into that a lot deeper time and time again. Without understanding the exact product, it would probably be more difficult to understand. But hopefully that's answered that. So thank you. No worries. So thank you. Yeah, no worries. Thank you very much. That looks like all sort of the questions we've got coming in. I suppose, Sophie, you know, the email marketing for me is, you know, there's so many emails that go out. You know, you don't want to come across spammy. You don't want to send too many emails out. You know, what's the right level of emails to send? Is it one a day? Is it one a week? You know, and for every customer and client, that's going to be different, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it totally depends what your business is, what you're selling, whether it's products or services. But I mean, I'd say you can get away with sending one a day.
Yeah, I think and the other thing side of that is looking at the data. What is the data telling you? You want to build that relationship with your customers. And
yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, it depends on your open rate. I mean, you want your open rate to increase. So, I mean, you could even do a test. So maybe 1 week you send 3 emails and see what your open rate looks like. And then again, the next week, maybe you send 5 emails and see if your open rate goes down, then you want to decrease that. It really does depend what you're selling and what you're offering.
Fantastic. All right, that's great, Sophie. Thank you. Okay. All right, then. So let's think about what's next in the series. Next week, we're going to talk about Dream 100. You know, we've talked about building a list. Well, how can we scale that? So, for example, the Dream 100 is a way of basically helping you to reach those customers and build that list even quicker. How can you work with partners, essentially, and your top customers to enable you to grow those products quicker? So we're going to go through those, and you'll have all that information next week, 5 p.m. next Wednesday. So today's outcome, why do you need it? I think Sophie went through that very clearly. How to build your email list from scratch, some great top tips there. We talked about paid and organic, and we talked about the regulations as well. So that's pretty much it from us. Thank you very much for giving up your valuable time. You can always get in contact with us at support@globalecomexperts.com and our phone number 02039 151 930. That's it from us. I hope you've enjoyed our session today. Thank you very much to Sophie. Sophie, thank you.
Thanks very much.
No worries. Have an amazing day, and we'll catch up with you all later. Thank you.